Hello friends, I'd like to do a quick little video in honor of Mother's Day. Mother's Day is always a big deal because I think in my hobby life, my mom was always one of the most supportive people. So growing up on a strict budget and whatnot, the occasional pack of cards in the mid 80s when I was getting into Little League and getting interested was always something we'd splurge on. Every week I'd get a pack or something when I'd run to the store and pick things up. But probably the biggest thing was just my mom would allocate a pretty generous, especially based upon our budget, allocation towards Christmas or birthday, and usually give me a little bit of control over what I would want. So I would go through and I'd get the Kit Young mail order book where you just would kind of see their assessment of the grade and the card, and get to pick exactly what you want to put on the list. So I put little X's and pluses next to them to let her know those were in my 10 favorites, or maybe the next favorites if she reached out and they said that wasn't available. So that was kind of our story. So starting around I believe it was maybe 86, 87 time frame. That's kind of when we started. Actually, I believe 87 was the first mail order, and up until then, really, it was all just packs in my world. So as I'd see a few things, maybe I had a couple, but nothing major. Definitely nothing that I would consider expensive back in the day. So really my very first, and I think my mom picked this one just because of the player's name. Since I'm Aaron, I think she thought that'd be kind of cool. But what a neat looking card. And you'll notice these are generally raw because I have, other than preserving and making sure that they stay in good shape for eternity, I have no desire to really even care what they're worth because these are going nowhere. These are the gifts. If my kids said which ones can we get rid of, which ones can we not, this would be like the 5 that I would say you can't. Anything else is a little bit of a fun hobby, and hopefully there's some investment component to it. But these are the ones that are going absolutely nowhere. But pretty nice and clean when you think about not only the fact it's a 1955 card, but it went through mail order back in the late 80s. And then for the last, good Lord, close to 40 years, I guess, it's been traveling around with me. I didn't take it to college, but anything other than that, every move, every major life event, I've taken that with. So that was really my first big historic card. So, thank you, Mom, on that one. Thank you, Mom in heaven, on that one. So the next year, I believe it was the Christmas going into, would have been Christmas of 88, I guess, right before we moved. So I always have that landmark in my mind of when we moved houses or apartments, I guess it would have been at that point. This was really my first, that's kind of like that golden age, that 50s, 60s kind of prime. But this was when my first dive in. You'd be surprised where I went, but I always did research. I always thought it was just so cool that Christy Mathewson was not just an excellent player, but regarded as such an excellent person. Kind of a gentleman, college educated, just a different take on what it was to be a baseball player, because they were known to be such kind of ruffians back in the day. So I remember so much about this. So Kit Young had this graded as, I believe it was a good, was their assessment, which I'm not sure what this would grade if I sent it in right now with today's standards, but for back in the day, I was pretty pleased with it. Obviously, centering, whatever else you're going to, critique on a card, could care less. This is the coolest card in the world, and it's the one that would never go anywhere for me. It was $155, and I was surprised I got this back in the day because that was definitely above the budget. She said kind of check off a few extra dream cards that you might kind of wish were there, but might not be in the budget this year. And that one ended up being on the list that year. So the next two I'm going to show together because if I recall correctly, those two I have crystal clear memories of, essentially being such a big deal. The next two I want to say I got together, and I think my mom probably just knew the names. She was not the biggest sports guru, but definitely wanted to support my hobby interest. So I'll show these two rookies. Again, neither perfect, and I believe, again, both Kit Young. So thank you, Kit Young, for being that mail order source back in the day. But there's a couple. Ernie with the typical symptoms of not being centered perfectly and all the fun stuff. But still, even for having a big old crease and not being, cut quite right, his name's all hacked off there, but still gorgeous. And Walter Payton, if you can see that, there's a little bit of a stain on it. But other than that, I mean, back when I was, 12, running around with a Beckett, I mean, we would have called that thing like near mint, because what did we know? That was just a different world, different era. But overall, pretty clean. I'm really debating whether or not I drop these off with, SGC next year at Strongsville, or what the best plan of attack might be, or if I just say these are clearly different, tell my kids not to ever get rid of these because they are on the super cool, don't get rid of list. But I definitely enjoy these so much. So I do have another Banks rookie. I do have additional Peyton rookies that have been, graded and look nice. So it's not like I need those for display. The Christy Mathewson, in fairness, I don't have another copy of that that's graded, but there's something kind of cool about having a T206. It just used to be in a screw down, don't tell anyone. I know that was, we thought we were doing right and it turned out we weren't. So it has a little bit of a story. Hopefully it doesn't get an authentic grade, but it's just cool. Like the history, the memory, my mom supporting me throughout the time. And then, like most folks, I probably left the hobby a little bit. Once you get the card and start having the friend circle and some adult kind of stuff and different interests, you don't go into the hobby quite so much. But I came back intermittently as a young adult. So this last one, card number 5 that I'm going to show today, that I would never ever give up, is one that actually my wife and mom split. It's a $200+ card. I forget exactly what it went for on eBay, back when eBay was barely starting. I think had to be Christmas of 04 as we moved into our house in 05. I think we were in an apartment at that point. So it's weird to think through. That's one of the cool things about cards, is you almost think through your life as to where you were, who got it for you, what the moment was, what friend you traded. A lot of these things just spur memories, not necessarily even just of players or of cool sets, but sometimes of just even the moment. But this was one that kind of went over our young adult budget, and so my mom and wife went in together and split this one. So it was a little over $200 back close to 20 years ago. So, not the high grade version. Again, that's why I say value. But for the most part, if you can forgive some tape, and it's close to ripped in half, but a $200 Lou Gehrig, I mean, I'm pretty impressed with that myself, just at the investment side. But again, the sentimental draw, you're never going to get rid of this card anyway. So pretty cool. I'm forgiving of the tape and whatnot. So card 92, the back's kind of the strong part. If you know any back collectors, this is going to impress them quite a bit more than anyone that likes the front of the card, because the front clearly is not the most pristine version of this card, but still super cool. And again, you can, as I show my collection and show some of the things that are interesting to me and give some explanation as to why I am drawn, again, a lot of it is the character. Everyone you see here is kind of a high character, high profile, not just, Hall of Fame worthy kind of player and performer, but as a person. For the most part, they're the character, the history, the stories, who they are, kind of ring true with me as somebody I want to hold on to and celebrate a little bit and enjoy looking at, because I know I'm kind of backing and enjoying who they are and remembering them too. So Yeah, Mathewson, Peyton, Hank Aaron, Ernie Banks, and Mr. Lou Gehrig. So those are the 5 cards in my collection that, I don't know. Leave a comment if you think I should grade them, or if you think it's kind of cool just to have them raw. I'm always open to ideas and suggestions. Believe me, I change my mind almost weekly. So they've made it this long without being graded. I'm not sure what the right answer is, but I sure enjoy them. I sure enjoy the reason. I appreciate my mom while she was with me supporting the hobby and doing all she could to, kind of keep my interests and support my collection. So hopefully y'all enjoy. Hopefully everyone's having a wonderful, wonderful Mother's Day. And if you find this other than Mother's Day, give your mom a hug and go buy some baseball cards. See you guys next time.